Station, Houston, Space Ground 2, we have you expect we may get a possible dropout at 2:46. We've gone to high power. We may not get it, but be alert. ISS, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
We are ready for the event.
JSC PAO, this is Houston. Please call ISS for a voice check.
Endeavour ISS, this is JSC PAO. How do you hear me?
Rob, we have you loud and clear, and happy to talk and take your questions today.
Good to talk to you, Jeff, and the media are ready.
Hello, everyone. You all look great. This is Jill Tolk representing the Beacon Villager in Maynard, Massachusetts. A question for Nick Patrick from Air Race pilot Michael Goulian. Michael says, just being there to watch the launch for 2 nights in a row with changeable weather was a roller coaster of emotions. When you get so close to a launch and it's delayed like it was last week, how do you get psyched up to do it all over again the next night?
That's a good question, and hello to Mike. I'm glad he was able to watch with us. We were a little disappointed, obviously, to come off the launch pad in our suits rather than being pushed off it by the main engines and the solid rockets the first night. But it's not hard to get psyched up again when you know what's ahead. The second night was maybe even better than the first because we were all well prepared, having just been through the night before, and the launch went off the second time without a hitch. So I would say it's not hard to get really psyched up a second time for a launch like that.
Thanks for the good words. Another question for you, Nick. Before your launch, we had talked about Captain James Cook and his vessel, the HMB Endeavour. I did find out that Andy Thomas flew a wooden piece of the anchor from Cook's Endeavour on Shuttle Endeavour in 1996. So what were your thoughts and feelings as you were sailing through your first EVA in view of your childhood growing up in Yorkshire?
Well, in fact, somewhere through the EVA, our IV, Steve Robinson, pointed out that we were over London at dawn, and I was able to look down and see a large part of the UK below me. I didn't at that point have too much time to think about my childhood because the EVAs are very busy, as you know. But reflecting now, it was a wonderful experience to have grown up in that part of the world. It prepares you well for any weather you might encounter, whether it's bad weather at launch or landing. And I do remember fondly going up to see the monument to Captain Cook in the Yorkshire Moors, which was it's a treat to look back on that and think about how far we've come since his days of exploration.
Thanks very much. My last question is for Steve and Soichi. Stevie Ray, before you launched, you talked about being one brain with Soichi because of your experience on 114. What's it been for you and Soichi together to work and maybe play a little bit on orbit?
Well, you know what you don't hear too much about in the space program, I suppose. You know, you hear about rockets and space stations and international cooperation, but you know, there's real true friendship in the space program, and to travel that far from the surface of the Earth up to this tiny little star in the heavens and find my friends on board is almost miraculous. And so it's been wonderful for me to see all the folks here on board. And Soichi and I, of course, we trained together for so long. We're like brothers from other countries, and it's been great fun.
Yeah, thanks. You know, living in space is nothing more joyful other than having friends on board. And Stevie Ray just gave me it's a great memory 5 years ago, and this time also. It's a great experience.
This is Gerhard Daum with the German Aerospace Center, DLR, and Space Expo Association. Question for TJ Creamer. After about 2 months aboard the ISS, what were your most challenging moments and your highlights so far?
After 2 months, my first response is, wow, 2 months already? Most challenging, I tell you that everything we do around here, it's amazing how much we miss gravity. What I mean is you put something down and it, of course, doesn't stay down because it doesn't know where down is. And so everything we do has an overhead associated with that activity that is just really surprising, and it takes a while to get used to. Highlights, I tell you, sharing the time with the friends that are on board, and truly, it is friendship all around. And I think the most spectacular aspect of that sharing is the discoveries from day to day that we encounter, and of course the incredible views that we're able to see throughout my 2 months here, but now even better with Cupola.
Question for Nick Patrick. You performed your first 3 EVAs on that mission. Please tell me about your emotions and impressions floating outside the station, and what was the most difficult task?
Well, it's EVAs are a challenge, as I'm sure you know, you've heard from other people. And I think my primary emotion was, wow, I can't believe I'm really out here doing this after a year of training. We had a lot of fun training in Houston with a great team. But it was hard at sometimes to believe that we'd actually get here and do these spacewalks and bring up the Cupola and the Node 3. So half the time I had to pinch myself, which is hard to do through the suit, because I couldn't believe we were up here. I think the most challenging task from a big picture point of view was connecting the ammonia jumpers and wrapping the MLI around those. That took us the best part of a whole EVA. And the single most challenging moment was probably when Bob and I were rolling up the MLI on the outside of the Cupola, the insulation that it launched in. That just didn't behave the way it had on Earth. So those were some of the challenging moments. But all in all, it was really great fun and a wonderful experience.
My last question for Steve Robinson. This is your 4th mission. Was there anything new for you personally on this mission so far?
What's new for me personally? Well, the space station must be almost twice the size as it was last time. The type of things that people do on space station, the type of living here, and of course, you know, the brand new Node 3 and the Cupola, all these are new. So it's like a brand new experience all over again. And frankly, I think every time you fly in space, you sort of start over in a way. There's that much new to be learned.
This is Jim Oberg with NBC News, and hello to everyone up there. I have a question from our network associates in London, the ITN, for Nick Patrick. So it's for British television, so you don't have to worry about Yankees understanding how you answer. But their question is, now that you're fulfilling your lifelong dream for a second time, how does it really feel to be in the shuttle, doing that work that you were carrying out, and how does it compare to your dreams? And later, what would you, as a follow-up, what would you say to someone else who has those same dreams? First, how does it compare to your dreams?
Those are interesting questions. Those are interesting questions. I think I could almost say I haven't quite fulfilled my childhood dream, because what I think most of us here dreamed of when we were really young was walking on the moon, when we watched the Apollo moon landings. And none of us has walked on the moon yet, or on the surface of another planet. We'd all really love to do that. But of course, in a very real sense, we're all fulfilling our childhood dreams of flying in space, and it is just a wonderful experience. It's both wonderful to be here and experience it as a crew, and it's also wonderful when you get back home to share it with friends, family, and students and colleagues. The people who in the future will hopefully be inspired by what we're doing, and the people who've helped us do it. It's wonderful to go back and talk to all of them.
Endeavour ISS, this is Houston ACR.
And I would say
that concludes questions from JSC. Please stand by for a voice check from KSC PAO.
Endeavour ISS, this is KSC PAO. How do you hear me?
KSC PAO, Endeavour, and ISS have you loud and clear.
This is Marcia Dunn of the Associated Press, and I'd like some reviews of the station's new observation deck. How stunning are the views, and what are some of your favorite views through the 7 windows so far? And maybe a couple of you could answer that, please.
It's going to be so hard to put into words the view that we see out those beautiful 7 windows. I think the best way I can think of is it's comparing a black and white analog picture to a super high-def color picture. It's just phenomenal what we can see out there, although we really haven't spent a lot of time gazing out the windows yet because we're still working inside Node 3 to get it all operational. And the most stunning thing I've seen so far is just some beautiful thunderstorms from above. It's really interesting to watch the way the lightning just jumps from cloud to cloud far below us.
Hi, Marcia. I'll add to that. The first time, every experience I've had here has been new and completely amazing for me since this is my first flight. Getting to look out the shuttle windows and the station windows have been awesome. But when we looked out the cupola, like Kay said, it's impossible to put into words, but it took my breath away. And we've only had a few opportunities to go down there because we have been busy inside doing work. But I think the favorite view that I've had has been watching sunrise, because you can see at night, you can see cities if you're over land. And then when you pass into the sunlight, you get the blue limb. And then it turns into pink and different colors like that. And then when the sun pops up, it's like an instantaneous floodlight in your eyes that kind of overwhelms you. But the view is amazing. You can sit there and bend up and actually with your eyes at least perceive the entire Earth limb, and you can really see that the Earth is that round shape. It's just amazing.
Yes,
Marcia, I'll just
Commander
give one
Williams,
more practically.
Yes, and for Commander Williams, so you can use the cupola for viewing, or at least part of your crew. And how do you plan to handle the up and down of the shutters over the course of what's left of your mission and missions to come?
Well, obviously, we're going to have some restrictions. For example, we can't have the cupola open when the shuttle undocks, and probably for about 2 orbits after that, after the shuttle leaves, just due to the potential for contamination from the thrusters from the shuttle. But we will use the cupola a lot to get a very unique and new viewpoint of the Earth that we haven't experienced before. And as the others just said, to be able to see the entire Earth in one glance and see the entire limb of the Earth all the way around and see the spherical shape of the Earth is going to be new to us. Obviously, we've seen a lot of those segments of that view before, but only one segment at a time through a narrower field of view to the Earth. We have taken a lot of photography up here. We will continue to do so. And the cupola will offer us a very unique and new opportunity for photography in a new way, particularly with wide-angle lenses, which we're already playing with a little bit to try to be able to share that experience with folks on Earth.
Hi, Nancy Atkinson from Universe Today, and I have some questions submitted by our readers. Speaking of the cupola, a lot of people in the northern latitudes have been seeing some aurora recently, and we were wondering if you have seen any from the space station.
Actually, unfortunately for the shuttle crew here, for the 130 crew, we haven't had an opportunity to see aurora since they've docked. But about a month ago, I think it was, we had some beautiful aurora over the North Pole. And some of us have experienced it also on previous flights, and both in the North Pole and the South Pole. But this, about a month ago, it was particularly stunning over Canada and parts of Russia as well.
Another thing everybody seems to want to know is to know more about the internet that's on the space station now. Do you have access to any website, or do you have some that are blocked? And people are wondering what kind of download speeds you have.
Thanks for asking for this project that many people have worked on to make this impossible for us, and some have just pulled their hairs out to make it successful. And many thanks go to these folks. We have access to any website that we are allowed to go to as government employees. That's my best answer. And in terms of download speeds, you know, back in the old days, it kind of compares to the modems, the 9.6 kilobyte and the 14.4 kilobyte modems. So it's not really fast enough to do good file exchange or large file exchange or videos. But it certainly lets us go out and browsing and to do the fun reading that we want to do and get caught up in current events on that day. It's a nice outreach for us. And of course, you've heard about the twittering, which that's a nice feature that we can partake in also.
And one final question for the shuttle crew. We want to know the significance of the chickens that were in some of the execute packages.
Okay, I think what the consensus is that we're not seeing those front pages. It's probably on the front page of the execute package that we don't get. So it's possibly an inside joke that we are not on the inside of, and we'll find out when we get back.
Hey, thanks, guys. It's Bill Harwood with CBS News with two questions. One for Jeff Williams. You know, with the cupola and Node 3 there, the station is virtually complete structurally anyway. I guess you still have the MPLM coming up at the end. But can you give us a little state of the ISS and how you guys are feeling about reaching what is really an amazing milestone given all the work that's gone into this?
You're absolutely right, Bill. It is an amazing milestone, and this is an absolutely incredible facility. The first time I visited it was just under 10 years ago. It was 2 modules at the time. It was before Expedition 1 launched, so it was unmanned. We came in and it was hot and smelly because the air had been stale for about a year or so. And then, of course, on Expedition 13, back here a few years ago, and it was about, the living space was about half the size it is now. It's virtually doubled in size and has grown both in the U.S. orbiting segment with the Japanese and European modules, as well as, of course, Node 3 now and Node 2, which we're in right now, as well as some growth in the Russian segment. It's an amazing facility. It's very rewarding for all of us to be here at this stage as we really transition from assembly to full utilization, and we all look forward to reaping the benefits of the utilization over the next 10 years or so.
Thanks. And one last one from KSC, and I'll ask this from one of the spacewalkers. Can one of you guys compare the view through your helmet to the view through the cupola? I'm just trying to get a sense if that room, you know, is even close to what an EVA is like. Thanks.
Well, that's a great question, and it's one that Nick Patrick was able to answer immediately following our third spacewalk. Immediately coming out of his suit, he was able to go over to the cupola and actually have a look out of the window and compare it. And I think his words were that it's at least comparable, if not better. The reason being that you actually have time to look around through all of the windows. Usually during a spacewalk, there's a fair amount of work to get done. You know, it's important for us to get out, and on this flight, get Node 3. It's a cooling system and it's electrical power hooked up, and so there wasn't a lot of time for the sightseeing that you might like to do out of a window like Cupola. The other thing that the Cupola affords you is the opportunity to share some of those views with other people. We're really limited on the photography that we can do during a spacewalk, but taking one of the HD cameras or some still photos inside of the cupola is really going to allow us to share those beautiful sunrises and sunsets and Earth views in general with everyone on the ground. Great question.
Endeavour ISS, this is Houston ACR. That concludes questions from KSC. Please stand by for a voice check from NASA Headquarters PAO.
Endeavour ISS, this is Headquarters PAO. How do you hear me?
Headquarters PAO, Endeavour and ISS have you loud and clear, ma'am.
Hi,
Hi, this question's for Nick Patrick. Nick, this is Shona from ITV News, so a little bit of British normality for you while you're up there in space. Nick, I know you've touched on this already, but just
I'm sorry,
briefly,
could you repeat the question, please?
Just explain to me the journey, looking up at the stars as a boy in England and thinking, you know, one day I want to be a spaceman, and even though you're not sort of stereotypically walking on the moon as you might have thought about it then, just take us through how it feels to actually be there now.
It's really hard to describe. It's a little hard to believe that after all these years, I think for any of us that we really made it to space. We've all been pursuing this dream for a long, long time, wherever we came from, whether it's Japan or North America, England, and Russia. That's right. We have cosmonauts with us today. You also. It's an amazing set of things that have to go right, and people who want to pursue this path really need to study hard. I think that's the one thing that we all have in common, whether we're engineers, scientists, pilots, doctors. We've all really worked hard in school to get here. We've stayed in school for a long time, way too long for some of us, and we've been very fortunate in our careers to have followed paths that brought us here. But it really is amazing. You have to pinch yourself, and I can't wait to get back and share this unbelievable experience with everybody back on the planet.
That's great. And just another one for Nick, just briefly. Moving from the UK to the US is one thing, obviously, but space is pretty much the ultimate culture shock, surely. Do you sometimes dream of getting back to Saltburn-on-Sea? I mean, you're so far from home. How does space compare with a pint down the pub?
Well, I do look forward to getting back to Saltburn after the flight and talking to students there and explaining what spaceflight is really like. As for how this compares to a pint in a pub, I would have to say there's a lot of the same friendly atmosphere up here. We don't have as much time as you might to really sit back and share stories, but when we do, it's a very precious experience. Floating in the cupola, as Bob described, with a friend and looking out over a sunset, a view that few have been fortunate to see. It's if we had beer up here, it would make the best pub in the world.
Endeavour ISS, this is Houston ACR. That concludes questions from NASA headquarters. Please stand by for a voice check from Jaxa PAO.
Endeavour ISS, this is Jaxa PAO. How do you hear me?
Hey, Jaxa PAO, have you loud and clear?
Hello? My name is Imoto of TBS. So I would like to ask your comment, your impression of staying in ISS and how you assess your activities up to now.
TBS の妹と言います。
My name is Imoto from TBS. Thank you. Mr. Noguchi, what's your impression of your stay in ISS so far and your activities so far?
はい、今は国際宇宙ステーションに来て
Well, it's been 2 months now since I've been here at the ISS, but everything has been working smoothly, and the people on the ground, especially those at Cuba, we have been coordinating quite fine, and so we're very grateful for their support. And although the launch has been delayed, in April we'll be expecting Ms. Yamazaki to come, so we'll have to make preparations for that.
This is a question to Mr. Noguchi, Nippon Television. And compared to the very onset of your extended mission, what is the main difference you're feeling now that you've stayed in space for 2 months? I must say that living in space, I have started to adapt to the lifestyle both physically and mentally, and I am being able to enjoy my life in space. So that's a major change I've been noticing. And in this mission, we have now a cupola with the large windows, and I can see Earth from that. So I am hoping that there will be a new perspective added to my life here on the ISS.
My name is Nishikawa. Mr. Noguchi, well, this year ISS will be completed. So, well, people, humans, will be living in that quarter in ISS. What is the significance of living up there? Can you please explain, particularly for the children in Japan? Well, yes, this International Space Station is a wonderful facility. There are a lot of scientific achievements, but it has been done under a very great international project. And Japanese people are involved in such project. And here we have 6 people from the Space Shuttle and 5 in the ISS. But the fact that there is Japanese amongst them is a fact that will, I'm sure, it will inspire the children in Japan and give clues that there will be such future. Now, having the messages that I would like to send to the Japanese children from here is that the Earth is so beautiful, and I would like to convey that information through various pictures, photographs, etc.
Kanda from Jiji Tsushin. And you discussed about the photographs, and the internet environment has improved on board, so almost real time, I think you can submit your tweets in Twitter. Now, do you feel that the distance between Earth and ISS compared to your previous flights, is there a change in the distance between Earth and the ISS? Yes, now that the internet is available on board, the distance has become more closer. I think it's very effective in that sense. We can transmit information from the ISS, but we have better access to the information that's going on today. So I can access the Olympic results just like you on Earth.
Tokyo Shimbun, my name is Sakaki Bara. Now, on Twitter, you talked about holding a sushi party on board. So, what did you include? What was the topping of this sushi? Well, yes. Actually, I did have such sushi parties. But when the shuttle crew came, I think it was last week, we had lunch together. And so one of the menu was the sushi. Well, we had the nori seaweed and rice, but at that time I used salmon and shrimp. The Russian crew ate shrimp with mayonnaise, and they loved it.
Koiso from Fuji Television. Currently, you have the shuttle crew who you flew up together with Robinson. So Stephen Robinson is with you again. So you are reunited in space with your former colleague. And also, how do you feel about that? And in ISS, you currently have 11 on board. How is the life on board with 11 people? And they will be leaving soon. Would you miss them?
Hi, Steve Robinson-san.
Yes, Stephen Robinson. We, of course, worked together 5 years ago, and we were able to garner a great friendship through that mission. But now he's visiting us, and on this ISS, I believe it's one of the most enjoyable events when you are able to greet your friends on board. And the shuttle crew will finish their mission today on board ISS, and they will be leaving us tomorrow. So that's quite lonely. Yes, we will miss them, but we will get reunited again on Earth, and we will have a new friends coming on board. So we'll change our mindset and work towards that.
Honma from Yomiuri Shimbun. Mr. Noguchi, I'm sure you have a busy schedule every day, but in your life schedule, so what is the thing that you look forward to the most? And is there anything you miss? Well, yes. Right now, the Earth that we can look from the window is something that really delights me every day. And we have busy schedules every day. But this beautiful Earth, I would want people to enjoy the most. And I have been sending this, and I have been receiving responses via Twitter, and so I would like to remain in touch with the people on ground and fulfill my mission. And of course, I do miss food from in Japan and meeting with my family, but there are many things that I can do only up here in the space, and I'd like to enjoy that.
Yes, my name is Hasia Ryder, and in the previous mission, you did an EVA, and you actually said, quoting you, that you felt equal on the same footing with the Earth. But what's the difference you felt, and is there a specific impression you are left with regarding the land of Japan that you see from the space? Yes, last time in the EVA, I was alone, floating in space, and I felt as though I came head-on with Earth as one living thing to another living organism. But this time on the ISS, I am looking at Earth through the window, and I wonder about the people's lives on Earth. In each region, they have different cities and towns, and I am more interested in these people's individual lives. And Japan is beautiful anywhere you look at it, and the snow in Hokkaido and Tokyo's night lights, and also Sakurajima Islands, eruption, all these are beautiful. But even the smallest towns, let's say in Wate Prefecture, there's this fishing port, which is very beautiful to see as well. So until my very last day on board, I would like to keep an eye on Japan.
Haruno from NHK. Mr. Noguchi, the ISS will be extended for 5 more years in its operation. I'm sure that you have heard about the news, but what is your thoughts on your future careers based on that information? Well, yes, it was extended to 2020, and I think that was wonderful as a Japanese astronaut. Well, last year, there were 3 astronauts added to the group. So as a representative of Japan, they're training themselves now. And so it is sure that they will have a chance to fly and come on board. As for myself, I really don't know my tomorrow's schedule yet. So what I would like to do is to do whatever I can every day.
Murata from TV Asahi, you said that you were watching and keeping an eye on the developments at the Olympic Games. Now, what is the event or an athlete that you're keeping an eye on? With a gesture, if you could give a message of encouragement to the athletes, please. All right, I got it. Well, of course, I think the Japanese already won a few medals, so I'm looking forward to the excellence. And ski jumping, I did send out my ski jump on the ISS. And skiing and figure skating is also another event. I know that there are wonderful athletes there, so we're hoping great medals. So I look forward to that. Good luck to you all.
This is my second question, but I'd like to ask about the changes in your body up in space. Now, you said that you're swimming in the space just like a tuna. Wakata-san was saying that it looked a sense like tuna. Are you now familiar with the life in the space? Well, yes. I think the first 1 month, everything had to go very slow, but now I'm accustomed in terms of physical and mental aspects, and I'm swimming well. Well, I'm not as an expert in terms of Wakata-san.
Jujitsushin, and 2 months has already passed on board the ISS, and I'm sure, have you chatted with your family members or friends via the internet? And in a long extended mission, is there any effect to that psychologically or mentally? So with my friends or family, I exchange emails, and also I use the TV conference system so we can see them, and also with a telephone line I am able to talk to them. And since it's a long extended mission, it's important to speak with your friends and people on Earth, and it's important for the stability mentally, I believe.
And this is my second question. For Mr. Noguchi, this is the first ISS activities in 4 years, but what is the most thing that we were impressed upon, and how is the view from Cupola? Yes, compared with 5 years ago, the station has become big. It has been widened. The Tude and Columbus, GEM were added, JLP was added, and this time Node 3 was attached as well. So the space has become very wide, and a variety of activities can be held. So with this, the interior of the ISS have been almost completed. So the fact that I've been able to observe the completion of ISS is something that was very delightful. Now, you had likened yourself to killifish earlier, but what is your comment on that? Well, yes. We are very busy taking up various tasks here, and I've been working in the GEM, and then after that, to help the EVA in the airlock, and then I came back to the and with the shuttle people, we are very busy. So Mr. Wakata may have been swimming very swiftly in the big sea. Compared with him, I'm just a killifish, just wandering around.
Endeavour ISS, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you, media at JSC, KSC, NASA headquarters, and in Tokyo. ISS, we are now resuming normal radio audio communications. Enjoy your lunch.